let's get started. So, hello everyone. I'd like to thank you for joining this collaborative webinar between PMC and Stillog about scaling your manufacturing production in 2022. I am Brian. I represent PMC. I am the marketing specialist. I will be handling things on the back end as well as handling any Q&A that we have at the end of the presentation. When we open up the floor to questions, I'll be handling those questions. So throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, type those into the chat box. And when we get to the end of the presentation, we'll go over those questions. Now, before we start, I know the main screen here says visual planning, as they will be the main topic of discussion during the presentation. But I'd like to do a brief introduction to what PMC is. So PMC is an industrial engineering and consulting firm. We're based here in Dearborn, Michigan, but we also have a global reach with offices in Canada, Mexico, India, and Sweden. So we really have that global reach. As a company, we've been around since 1979, and we have worked with over 700 clients and completed more than 8,000 projects. Our foundation was based in simulation software, but we have since expanded into industrial engineering and manufacturing, laser scanning, BIM and CAD modeling, quality and operational excellence, as well as technical staffing. But now I'd like to turn things over to the presenter of this presentation, Sean. He represents Stillog, and we have been working with them in their software visual planning for about a year and a half now. And we're actually really excited to see what's in store with them moving forward. So with that, Sean, take it away.
Thank you, Brian. And yeah, just like you are excited, we're excited as well. It's been a really, really good partnership thus far, and we're looking forward to the rest of the years that we have to come. So yeah, so as Brian mentioned, he gave an overview of PMC. I'd like to give you a quick overview again of visual planning. So let me just share our agenda for today. So first, we'll go into an introduction of visual planning, understand the company, how long we've been around. I'll get right into the demonstration of our software. Once I'm done with that, we'll get into a Q&A. Any questions that you guys might have, feel free at any time to put it into the chat room. I know, like, for instance, some questions that might be helpful, like how you heard about this webinar, some pain points you're currently dealing with in scheduling and resource management, anything that you can think of as we go along with this, feel free to ask those questions at any time. We'll get to them once we're finished with the presentation. So, visual planning. We've been around since 1991, came out into the United States in 2013, been growing ever since we've made our footprint out here into the United States. We obtained our ISO 9001 certification in 2018, so that's a big deal in the software world. And we just came out with our release of Visual Planning 8 in 2021. We have a global reach. We have offices in Paris, Germany, over here in the States, in Hoboken, New Jersey, San Francisco, and we plan on opening one in Denver, Colorado as well. We were supposed to open in 2019, but with COVID and what happened, I think you can understand that. But yeah, that's in the works for the next year as well. We service over 5,000 clients. We have user bases that range anywhere from 5 to 10 users, all the way up to our biggest client, which is EDF, the world's largest utility provider, that use us for 36 different applications and have over 85,000 users. So as far as volume, resources, different applications, scalability, this is all things that put us ahead of what's out there. So anytime that you guys would need us to grow with your business, learn new features, learn new different departments and things that come within your workspace, these are things that we can accommodate and make sure that we give you a solution for that. What is visual planning? So today you'll see how easy it is to use. It's a very powerful system, but it's extremely easy on the user end. You'll see the drag and drop interface. I'll show you and explain how we could do different integrations, because again, today you'll see some of the manual things as far as drag and drop, seeing different work orders, seeing different data. But a lot of the stuff you'll see today, we can automate and even semi-automate. Everything that within visual planning, we structure to the requirements of the client. So there's really nothing that's out there that I haven't seen visual planning not capable of doing. So whatever you could think of, if there's something that's unique to you guys, this is something that visual planning 9 out of 10 times, 99 out of 100 times will be able to handle. As seen on the bottom, We are cloud or on-premise, so if this needs to be stored on your database, that's no issue. If this needs to be on our shared cloud server or even on a dedicated server, any way that this needs to be set up, it could be set up for you guys. These are just most common integrations that come to us. We're able to integrate with even legacy systems, pretty much anything that's out there with our API. We also have our development team, so if there's something unique or specific, let's say you have a legacy system that's about 15 years old and there's some unique coding within there, we can have our dev team work so that we can make sure that we connect those systems together if needed, have that data transfer and both ways, in and out. And again, if it's something unique to you guys, it's something that we'll be able to accomplish. Just learning your requirements and making sure we set up the system based off what we learned during our analysis with you guys. The benefits of visual planning. So we are going to save you time. That's no ifs, ands, or buts. Our goal is to minimum cut off 70% of what you're currently doing with your scheduling and resource management. So tracking budgets, access to reports, scheduling machines, scheduling workforce. We want to make sure, again, we cut a minimum 70% of what you're currently doing. You're going to be able to have consistency and traceability. Anything that you need to look up, whether it's a work order number or resource that was scheduled to a different work order, someone that was scheduled to a certain machine, all of this will be simple and easy for you to find. If a client calls and needs to get some answers on a certain product that they're waiting on, for instance, or a due date, anything like that, we'll be able to connect your clients to this information. And we could even set up automations where they could receive emails on certain dates so that they could be reminded that they'll be receiving their order on this date. They can receive an email or text letting you know it's going to be leaving for transit, different like that. So again, we make things extremely easy on your end. And we set up different permissions and everything so that there'll be no risk in the different scheduling that you're doing. So people won't be receiving things late. If there's a delay on a machine, if there's a delay on a product, you'll have some easy visualization into this. We'll even, again, set up different alerts so that you could see if a machine goes down that was producing a product, we can make sure that you're aware of that, even show you what machine's available. And if there's different priorities on different, let's say, work orders, we can make sure it's reassigned real easily. So again, risk mitigation, something we'll have definitely set up in there with different user rights and permissions in the system. And your return on investment is usually pretty quick. So you'll usually see that within that first month. We have configurations that take 5 and 10 days. We have some bigger ones that take 50, 60, even 70 days. And some you'll see that within that first 2 months, but usually that return on investment, with most of my clients, they'll usually see that within that first month right away. As I mentioned, we have our VP desk, which you'll be seeing in the presentation today. VP portal, where you could log in through a light URL. This could be set up for different clients to log in and see information. This could be set up internally for people who are using tablets, for instance. We make sure we optimize the screen that everyone's viewing this data on. So for instance, if people are working out in the field or if they need to just see information on their smartphone, that's their main source of getting their data. We make sure we optimize the screen, organize it correctly to make sure that they see everything and real easily and have the data that they need. These are the different areas that we have different solutions in. You could see that there's one on the bottom right that says other application. So even if you have different companies that are very similar, there might be different things that are unique to that company. We make sure that we understand your requirements fully, understand what your major pain points that you're currently dealing with, focus on these to make sure that we provide you with the most efficient solution that's possible. And what you're going to see today is what we're going to focus on is the manufacturing and production management aspect of what visual planning can do. So we plan to have a few different webinars. This is the first of the series. As I mentioned, you see some QR codes in here. If you'd like to book a demo, if you'd like to just book a meeting with me to discuss how visual planning can work for you so I can understand what your pain points are, understand how visual planning can be set up so that it could be an efficient tool for you guys, scan that right there, book a demo with me. You can also send an email or give me a call right at this number and we can connect. All right. So as I did that, let's get into our example over here. So first, I know I didn't mention this in the beginning, but I should have, as you see there, I'm Sean Burgos. I'm the business development manager over here. My background is in information systems as well, and a little bit of computer. I also have a computer science degree, but mostly in management information systems. So I understand databases. This is why I came to visual planning. It's an extremely great, extremely efficient and great solution that could be set up for you guys exactly to what your requirements are. And I was trained in SAP, Oracle, Linux, a few different things. I haven't seen anything out there that's like visual planning. So anytime that you would just like to go to our website, you could see the different types of solutions that we offer and get some information on them. You could just go to visualplanning.com, go where Why Visual Planning, and right here on the left side, you'll see different solutions that we offer. Okay, so getting into our example over here. So first thing you're going to see is, and let me explain, is this example is based off of a client that produces industrial drums, barrels, different sizes, different colors, using different materials, for instance, plastic, cardboard, steel, carbon fiber, a number of different materials like that. And they have multiple machines that produce these barrels at high quantities. So whatever you're manufacturing, you could be manufacturing plastic bottles that have jar caps. You could be doing molding for different car injections, for instance, all different things that, again, I've come across that were different clients of mine that work with. This would be specific to you guys. So first screen you're seeing here is the dashboard. This dashboard would be user group specific. So who's ever logging into the system, whether it's an operations manager, it's someone that's on the floor, someone that's in upper management, we'll show them and display the information that they need to see. So if they want to log in this specific one, it's for the operations manager. They want to log in, they want to see what's going on with their 4 machines. So you have machine 1, 2, 3, and 4, and what's on schedule for today. If there's any holds on any specific orders, that'll pop up, give the issue of why this is currently on hold. And we can, again, make this display any data that you need to see. So you're not forced into having this amount of windows. You're not forced into seeing orders on hold, machines today, orders, comments. This is all going to be specific to what your requirements are and what you guys need to see and have the users display. So you can see here, machine 1, today's schedule, machine 2. If you need to see specifically what's going on with this order, 772 for product 2, set quantity of 720, we can log into here. And again, with every single interface and the way it's organized, we're going to have this display all the data that you need to see. So if there's a certain work order form, for instance, that you use right now that has the client name, has specific information about a product that's being produced, whether it's certain material amount that's been taken out of inventory, anything like that, we can mimic the exact work order that you're looking at, and we can bring it onto visual planning. So right here, I'm showing start date, order, customer, the machine that it's currently on, the quantity, for instance, and the planned duration of what this is going to be. All of this would be, again, specific to what your guys' needs are. All right, so getting into the first screen here, the machine schedule. The way I have this organized is on the left side, I have different orders that have come in. Everything you're going to see me do today is manual. So you're going to see me take these orders and bring them into these 4 different machines that I have scheduled right here. So I have machine 1, 2, 3, and 4. With your solution, we can have different images of those machines. We can have different information displayed. Again, whatever is specific to your requirements, that's what we're going to make sure and have in here. And if this is, let's say, integrated with a ERP system or another system that has this data that already has the work order data, all of this, we would make sure that we learn which orders need to come in, for instance. It's new orders that need to come in, make sure they're not duplicated. We would have this automatically pushed into visual planning. And in an automated version, for instance, we would have all these work orders automatically scheduled to the machines based on availability, based off what machine can do what, if there's downtime that needs to be scheduled on the machine, etc. So you can see here, I have all my work orders that have come in for the day. I'm going to set these up manually. So I'm going to take work order 266 over here, and I'm going to just put it to machine 1. You saw how simple that was, right? In your solution, if once you do this, you want to have this work order automatically filter out, for instance, we can have it set up that way. If you want to have these filter out after a couple minutes in order based off of certain statuses, or you just want to have a running count of what's being done here, it's again going to be all specific to your requirements. So you can see here, I'm going to just put a couple orders out. Extremely easy, right? And what this is also doing is automatically calculating how long everything's going to take to produce. So you can see here, if I move this down, this has a faster rate going on this specific machine. So this is automatically going to cut the time rate on this specific job. Super simple. On the bottom over here, this is just showing the orders as they come in. And again, you could just click on this, see any orders that you would want to see in here. Just showing you how easy everything is to do in visual planning. It's doing all the work for you. So it's doing all the calculations. You're literally just taking the order, dragging and dropping, voila, it's in the system. So this is, let's say, a high level on how you would want to view these different work orders that are coming in. Let's say someone down in the shop or different operation managers want to see these different work orders in different phases, for instance. So when they log into the system, someone on a high level will see just this is going to start at 3 o'clock, end at 2 o'clock, but they don't see each phase that's involved in this actual production that's going on. We can have that set up so that when they need to log in and they need to see that, we can have all those phases set up so they see the phases as they need to. So not only are they seeing the machines down on the bottom and how they're scheduled, but they're also seeing phase 1, what machine's going to be working on it, phase 2, which machine, phase 3, etc. With different types of machines, different production, there's different like cleaning time that goes in. I know with one of our clients that does different pastes, like for foods, different types of pastes, they have to have different types of cleaning that happens. Like if there's a fish type of fish paste that's going to be made compared to like a different gravy, for instance. So whether it's like a molding that needs to be changed on the machine, if there's certain preventive maintenance that needs to be done, like let's say every 3,000 hours or every 3,000 miles on a truck that you're using, whatever you would need to do in there, we can have that automatically set up in here so that when it's done with this job, it knows it has to set up a cleaning time without you even having to tell the system. So again, just to show you the drag and drop feature and how everything is simple in visual planning, just bringing phase 1 down, adding it for 3 days, phase 2, phase 3, and as I mentioned to you, this could be an automated process. So when we pull in those work orders and there's different criteria, just like I showed you on the last view, and it automatically created the start to end time, it also will understand what needs to be done in order to produce that product. So it also can automate which phase 1 is, how long phase 1 is taking place, how long phase 2 is taking place, how long phase 3 is taking place. And again, if there's any type of delay that's going on with the job, let's say machine 1 breaks down and there's no machine available, for instance, and this is going to move automatically to 4, you could see we could shift everything. These links could be set up, again, specific to what your requirements are. If there's a strict delay to it, if there's a minimal delay, all these different things could be set up, again, based off what your requirements are. Navigation around the screen, extremely simple. So if you have, let's say, 20, 30 different projects that you have working for a specific time period, you can just double click right here, see the whole screen. You'll be able to scroll down, see all your different projects at once. Volume is something that we're very, very familiar with. We have different companies that have 138 different test machines linked into visual planning and sharing the data directly from machine to visual planning in that way. So if you have, let's say, 2,000 work orders, if you have 400 resources, if you have 200 employees, any type of volume that you think of, we're very familiar with it. As I mentioned, we have one client of ours has 85,000 users. So I just want to mention, you're probably seeing this on a smaller scale. If there's something that you would want to see on a higher scale, for instance, you could schedule that demo with us and we could show you specific to what your requirements are. Over here, just to show you how we could change the screen, change the text, change the size of the font, add icons and everything. All of this specific to your requirements. What I wanted to show you here is the workload on the bottom. So you could see what your machines are currently scheduled for. You could see what their threshold is for whatever specific time period that you're looking into. Right now I have this scheduled in half days. So you could see for this half day, it's 50% scheduled for all of my resources, which you're seeing on that top line, but machine in 2 and 3 are booked fully 100%. Anytime you could change this scale on any view. So if you want to forecast this, let's say for a week ahead, a month ahead, a year ahead, anything like that, you could just right click, change the scale, and in the final solution, you wouldn't have to stretch this. We would have all that optimized. But you could see how the calculations on the bottom are going to change based off the scale that you're looking at. So if you wanted to forecast, let's say a week ahead and see how many products are being assigned to these different machines. And this can go to any type of resource, your human resources, different machines that are being assigned, work order volume, all the data is there. So we can present it here. Right here, you're just seeing, again, how many resources are assigned for that specific time period that you're looking at. In these projects, in these production orders, you're usually going to have an inventory that's assigned with these. So going back to first example here, inside of here, inside a production order, you usually have some inventory that's assigned to it. So when you're creating a certain barrel, for instance, let's say over here for this BESF ink, it's a green barrel, product 1, 720 of them. So when you're creating this over here, you're going to have specific material that needs to go into it, whether it's a certain amount of iron, a certain color paste that's going to be added to it, a certain primer, for instance. And as I mentioned to you, that in the background, visual planning, as these work orders are coming in and as you're assigning them, it's knowing if you have that available or not. So if you go to assign, let's say this BESF product over here, 3, and you go to assign it over here, it's going to tell you if you don't have enough of that product, for instance, for it to be assigned. If this is being automated, for instance, we would create something over here that would show you the products that don't have enough material, for instance, in there for it to be done at this specific time period. And we could even give you advice on where, like, to automatically put that order in the production order. So just explaining over here again, let's say product 3 needs a certain amount of iron, a certain amount of blue paint. All of that in the background is being done, and we could even create you a display so you could see this inventory. So in here, for instance, if there's certain chemicals that go into creating the primer or the paint, certain raw materials that need to be created, if there's a certain cost per unit that you need to track, for instance, that with your vendor, all of this we can have for you. So what this is just doing in the background is it's showing you, again, if there needs to be 1 unit of this ppm CaCOC, for instance, for them to create a barrel, it'll be there. And as the different work orders are coming in the background of visual planning, it's automatically taking whatever units need to be out. And again, now it's showing that there's a negative in these, and it would display and let you know, hey, there's not enough of this to be produced. And it would, if it's an automated version, give you the option of where to put it when you're going to get this. And again, if it's a semi-automated version, we'll be able to alert you to let you know there's not enough of this material for you to schedule this. All right, going on to the last thing I want to show you guys before I go into the Q&A over here. Different reports. So any type of report that you could think of, you'll be able to create yourself. So you could see here, I have 5 different reports. Just with the right click, you can change these at any time. So if you have certain reports that are relevant to you guys, you'll be able to create them yourself extremely easily. You'll be able to go in here and pick them at any time that you would want, name them whatever you want, and display this at whatever display that you would like. So if this display that you would like to see in the table, for instance, it's that simple. You're just changing the display type to whatever you want, right clicking. And if you want to see this whole thing in a full, just like every other view where I showed you, you could just double click and expand the screen. You could do that with everything in here. Extremely simple. All right, so just to get back to what I was saying over here real quickly, these work orders in an automated solution, all of this would be populated automatically. In this, I'm just showing you the simple drag and drop, how easy this could be for you to schedule your different production orders that come in and have visibility on what's going on with each and every one of them. And that was just to show you how we can show you different conflicts and name this anything that you would need to in there. So all alerts, everything like that, specific to what your requirements would be. I stress that because the system is based around your requirements. You're not forced within the structure of visual planning. Visual planning learns how your workflow is set up, how your business rules are set up, and we make sure we create the most efficient solution that's user-friendly based around that. All right?
So I guess with that, we'll go into some questions about the presentation, Sean.
Yep.
We did have a few come in, and we'll get started with those, but please, if you have any questions, type those into the chat box, and this is the time to ask Sean. So the first question we had, Sean, is where can I see, or where can visual planning impact my production the most?
All right, good question, good question. So definitely optimizing the logistics, anticipating bottlenecks, delivering on products on time. In production, in manufacturing, following a process flow is essential, maintaining the quality throughout the chain. So if you need to have deadlines, if you need to get this out to your client as soon as possible, if you need to set priorities, all of this, we're going to make sure that you have visibility into all of your production at every single level. So with VP, you'll be able to maintain and visually see your machines, what's currently going on with them, what's going on with your team, what's going on with different materials and what your inventory is looking like. All of you, your team, machine, materials, suppliers, everything will be fully in sync from the operation managers down to the shop floor. So it's the best way I could say that to you.
All right, thank you, Sean. Another question is, what tools or offerings does visual planning have that sets it apart from other scheduling and planning tools?
Also a good question. So flexibility, scalability, its drag and drop feature are just a few of them to name. You're not forced into the structure of the software. With visual planning, one of the first steps, if you decided, let's say, move forward with one of our solutions, we would have a needs analysis with you guys, where we would come on site, meet with your key users, key stakeholders, understand what your needs are. Like, we're not just going to push a product on you. We need to really understand what your needs are, what your pain points are, how your business flows, so that we can create the most efficient tool possible for you guys. So you're not forced into modules, you're not forced into anything. We configure visual planning based on your requirements. As I mentioned, it's powerful, it's an easy to use solution. We can grow with you. So if there's adjustments that need to be made as your business, let's say your workflow changes, these are all things that we could scale, whether it's scaling up or making changes as your company changes. These are all different things where once we create the solution, you're not stuck into how it's built for you guys. We can make the changes with you as it's needed. Lastly, and I've been here for 9 years now, and I don't just say this, I'm saying this in a true, and I could send different referrals, but there's not really anything I've come across that visual planning can't do. Like, we connect to QuickBooks for payroll, different things like that, but we could provide data in pretty much any format. So in this production industry, if there's something that is unique to you guys that you have tried to find a solution for, that you just haven't been able to figure it out or haven't found someone that's been able to do it, I'm telling you, come to visual planning, set up a call with either Brian or I, come to PMC. We can supply this solution to you guys. So speak to one of us, discuss your needs. This is something that we could definitely provide for you guys. Yeah, so as far as that question, how it sets us apart, I think that's the best way to answer. I've worked in this, I went to school here. I have not come across a tool or software like visual planning. So,
and that's a great segue actually into the last question that we have from the audience. I have a separate question for you after this question. But I guess, so the next question we had that ties in with that is, what steps need to be done before I can use the visual planning software?
Yep. So because VP is configured to the client's needs, I would say the first step would be to schedule a call with one of our teams. So either someone from PMC or someone from Visual Planning. You can reach out to both parties. We'll be able to schedule a call with you guys, learn exactly what you need. We want to make sure that when you use Visual Planning, it's not just, if you want to, obviously we'll have these out there for free where you can just download Visual Planning, and these should be coming out within the next couple weeks. This is something that we're going to be adding to our website in the very near future, because we've actually been getting a response saying, hey, can we just get a free version that we could try for a couple weeks that we could download real quick? So in a couple weeks, that will be on our website for you to do. But what I think is best is for you to give one of us a call. We actually learn what your requirements are, learn what your needs are, so that when you actually try Visual Planning, it's specific to what you're trying to get out of a solution. So we can go as deep as to providing a proof of concept with you guys, where if you need to see some kind of simulation of how automation would work, different things like that, it's all available. So as I mentioned, because VP is configured to the client's needs, I think the best way to get your hands on this is to reach out to one of us and schedule a call so that we can get you on a version of Visual Planning that you would, when you try it, I can guarantee you, and I say this pretty confidently, that it's something that you'll pretty much fall in love with pretty quickly. It's easy to use. It's a system. You've been around all types of software in different workplaces. This is something what you log into. It's something that you're not dreading. Something easy to use, visually pleasing on the eyes. And again, we make it around the way your workflow is around your workspace.
Great. Thank you, Sean. I guess the part I was going to bring up for my own personal question was just to kind of reiterate how PMC and visual planning can be used together, and how, to just provide like a small example of, in the past in this partnership, how we've built off each other, whether it's taking PMC's expertise and using visual planning, and how we kind of work together to help a client.
Yep. So also another great question. So within PMC, they have a lot of different clients that work within manufacturing, but they're just missing that scheduling piece. They're missing the visibility in that one scheduling tool where they could see what's going on with each machine. So that simulation piece is what we've mainly working with PMC on, and we're providing that solution for them. So if anyone knows about PMC, they're a pretty big company. They provide different solutions across horizontally across all types of industries, and we're directly working with them to provide the scheduling and resource management piece in these solutions for them.
Okay, great, Sean.
Yep.
With that, I'll leave it over to you to close things out here. I think we're done here with the Q&A.
Awesome. Well, guys, I just want to say I appreciate everyone coming out here. We will be sending a recording of this so that if you want to look this over again, as I mentioned, see some of the referrals that I scrolled through, this is all be available to you guys. Brian, I really appreciate that you guys joined us again, and we hope to hear from you in the future so that we could discuss this, see how we can help you. So thanks again, everybody.